Now it's time to talk about legal matters, as today the United States Supreme Court heard oral arguments on two highly anticipated cases that deal with the Affordable Care Act, religious freedom, and women's access to contraception. The cases, brought by Hobby Lobby and Conestoga Wood, test the question of whether for-profit corporations can invoke the constitutional guarantee of religious freedom to avoid the so-called contraceptive mandate in Obamacare. The law stipulates that employers need to provide health care for their employees that covers all forms of contraception at no cost. But some for-profit corporations have insisted they should not have to pay for all of these services, especially those that conflict with their beliefs. Here with the legal brief and the point of view, criminal defense lawyer Michelle Suskauer. Michelle, it's great to have you back on America's Forum.
I'm happy to be back. This is such an exciting case, and now I think the arguments are ended. It was extended. Normally, oral arguments, Supreme Court is at 60 minutes, and this was actually extended to 90 minutes, which I think is very, very exciting. And of course, as we discussed right before we went on air, the court seems divided. And it would not surprise me if this was a very, very close 5-4 decision, but we'll see in a couple of months. Basically, what this is about is really, does a corporation have a right? Is a corporation considered a person that can exercise religious freedom? You have owners of two different companies who have brought this case. And the reason why this actually came before the Supreme Court is there's something called a circuit split, which means the appellate federal courts have split here. There have been cases that have been brought to the different appellate courts. 3 appellate courts have said that the reproductive mandate should be struck down, and 2 have upheld it. So this was going to the Supreme Court without any doubt, and that's why it came there today.
Now, there's another case out there, and I don't want to muddy the waters, but as you mentioned this and the 2 companies involved here, the 2 corporations, there was another entity, a religious order, fittingly named Little Sisters of the Poor, that likewise filed legal action, and I believe at one point in time, no less a legal luminary than Madam Justice Sonia Sotomayor stepped in and said, hey, wait, they have a legitimate, this is not a legal term, my term, a legitimate beef here. So can you differentiate what's going on with our Little Sisters of the Poor and their clearly stated religious difficulty, as opposed to a company that may be owned by conservative Christians like Hobby Lobby?
Right, and there's a difference between the for-profit corporations, because that's really what we're talking about here with Hobby Lobby and the other corporation that owns the cabinet company, and not-for-profit organizations that have a religious basis that actually do have an exemption for the mandate for this type of health care for women and contraceptives. So it's very different. But in this particular case, actually in these particular cases, it's looking at for-profit, and number one, do for-profit corporations, are they looked at as a person, and can they go underneath the Freedom of Religion Act, and are they protected? And then you also have to look at, is the owner of a corporation or the ownership of a corporation, can they be separated from the corporation themselves? Because you have the owners who are objecting to providing this type of contraceptive care and to agree to the mandate, which is under the Affordable Health Care Act. But can the corporation still provide that to their employees? And so those are 2 different things, because in corporate law, they are separate, the owner and the corporation, but here it's a different argument.
Obviously, they're going to have to untangle that, and we have a few more legal issues we're going to talk with you about, Counselor. The meter's not running today.
Yeah. Well, our oral arguments the time is up for this particular case.
Yeah, we could talk for hours on this, so thank you.
Right along here, but we'll have more with Michelle Suskauer. We're going to talk about the Bernie Madoff employees who were convicted and some other legal issues right after this. If you want to reach out to us, find us on social media at Newsmax TV, #America's Forum.